Welcome to today's class. Again, this is Brittany with Scott Leroy Marketing. Today, we are going to be going over the Command Website 101. So this is going to be setting up your Command website, making sure that everything is populating correctly, showing you guys where to update any information that may change down the line. We're going to go over all of that today. If you are following along with this class, or if you're watching our recording at home, everything today is going to be done right through Command. So in order to access that Command platform, you're going to want to go to agent.kw.com. Again, that's agent.kw.com. And then you should see a login screen very similar to mine. And we're just going to add in our login credentials, username, and password. And this would be the same for Kelly and your MyKW platform. Once we're logged into the Command platform, I'm just going to click on Accept Cookies just so you guys can see the full screen. But the first thing I want to go over, and we tend to start most of our classes with this, is to go over the marketing profile. So if you guys have not yet accessed that platform, completely fine. We're just going to go ahead and click on your name in the top right-hand corner. And once you guys click on your name, you're going to get a drop-down list. We're going to go ahead and click on Settings. Once your settings platform has loaded, you're going to notice that you now have additional options on the left-hand side. And we're going to go ahead and click on Connect Settings. And you'll see Marketing Profile is nestled right underneath that. And then we're going to go ahead and click on that Marketing Profile. This may take a second to load, so don't panic. But once it does load, the first thing that you guys should be seeing is your headshot. If you guys have not yet added this information, again, completely fine. This is what you guys can do today. If you don't have a headshot, it does require something is added there. So what we usually recommend is just use the Keller Williams logo or any logo that you have on hand that would be associated with your real estate business. You will notice that in order for this image to populate correctly, it was previously cropped to be a square. If you have a headshot, whether it's a professional headshot or not, and it's not cropped to be a square, once you import it, you'll notice that it tends to squish that image. It tends to distort it on you. Unfortunately, if it's showing up distorted for your headshot on this page, it's going to show up distorted everywhere. So you do want to make sure that however your headshot's populating right here, it's showing up correctly and nothing's cropped funny or it's not squished. Underneath that, we have the team logo. This is not mandatory. If you do not have a team logo, you can leave that blank. You'll notice here that her logo is distorted in this circle. However, the marketing logos, both for the office, which we'll be going over shortly, or your team logo, though it shows up distorted here, it will populate correctly on all marketing platforms. So this particular section is a little bit deceiving. So if you do have a team logo that's already added and it may look a little bit funny in that image right here, completely fine. It will show up correctly on all of your marketing. Scrolling down underneath your logo, you're going to see My Details. This is going to be all of your basic contact information. So it's going to start with your name. You have your first name and your last name. If you do go by a nickname, you can certainly add this here, because what your marketing profile is going to do is it's going to allow you to collectively add all of your information, your contact information, your bio, office information, all of that's going to be added here. And it's actually going to syndicate out to all of the Command platforms for you. So in other words, any smart plans you run, so those drip campaigns, anytime you guys set up an email campaign or you're working on your website, all of this information that you're setting up right here is going to be updated throughout all of those platforms. That way you don't have to manually edit any of that down the line. You'll know that you can kind of come to your marketing profile and it's your one-stop shop to make any edits. So again, for your first and last name, if you do have a nickname, whatever you want your clients to see as your name is going to be what you want added here. Underneath that, we have agent license number. This is a great location for you guys to also specify if you're licensed in more than one state. So in other words, she's licensed in Oregon. If you were licensed, say, in Massachusetts, you could either do the and symbol or the break symbol, whatever you guys want, and then just put your other license number, and it will populate with both of those for you. If you're licensed in one state, you would only have to put your original license number. That's completely fine. You'll notice there's a team name section right to the right of that. You will want to have something populating in this box. In other words, if you're not a part of a team, completely fine, but we recommend putting maybe your name. So for example, I'm in Lori's account right now. Maybe she would put Lori Godfrey of Keller Williams Real Estate or of Keller Williams, whatever their DBA is. So that way, what this is going to do is wherever the team name would populate, not only will it populate with your branded information, but the team name is also going to be the name of the only drop-down list on your website. So if you leave this blank, it will just populate as your agent. If you add something there, your name, anything associated with Keller Williams, anything along those lines, it will show up as such. So again, if you're not a part of a team, your name of Keller Williams, so like John Smith of Keller Williams Realty, whatever you guys want. Underneath that, we have professional job title and designations. Professional job title, you do want to make sure that you're using whatever the compliant verbiage is for your board. So if you're with a state that maybe requires you to use realtor, all capitalized with the registered R, or maybe you have to have licensed real estate agent, whatever it may be, that's what you want populating here. Underneath that, you have your designations and credentials. Any designations that you've obtained, real estate specific or not, you can add those in here. And I just saw a question about the logo. If your logo, again, if your logo or your headshot is showing up incorrectly, headshot needs to be cropped to be a square. Logo does not have to be cropped. If it's showing up funny in that little circle, you're completely fine. It will still show up correctly everywhere else. Your headshot is the one that needs to be cropped to be a square in order for it to show up correctly. Underneath your designations, you're going to see your bio. This is where you guys are going to add in your biography. That being said, you'll notice here that our bio is set up as having all of these line breaks already added. You will want to make sure those are added accordingly on this page because again, those will syndicate out properly. So as long as it's formatted the way you want it to appear within your marketing profile, it's going to update correctly on all those other platforms. So it's just going to make it a little easier for you down the line. So we do recommend that you just adjust it accordingly right here. If you guys don't have a bio yet, you guys can always come back in here later, so don't panic. Scrolling down a little bit more, we're jumping into contact information. You'll see we have mobile number and office number. For Lori, she's duplicated her mobile number as the office number. Again, if you guys are with an office that does not require the office number to be on your marketing platforms, you can duplicate your mobile number, but just make sure that it's not a compliance issue. So I would just touch base with your broker in charge or somebody with your office, and they can just verify if it's okay for you to leave your office number off of your marketing for Keller Williams. You'll also notice that the phone numbers do not have dashes or any sort of special characters. You are welcome to add those dashes in. However, down the line, if you do decide to add maybe a custom page to your website, the platform will require you to remove those special characters as they are automatically added. So just keep that in mind. So I left hers just normal phone numbers without any punctuation because the command systems are smart enough to actually add that in for you. Underneath that, we have email and website. For the email, this is going to be, again, whatever email address you're using for your real estate business. It doesn't have to be your Keller Williams email. If you're a part of a team, or maybe you've purchased a custom domain and you're using that for your email, or you just have an existing email address that you plan on using for your real estate business, completely fine. You'll just want to make sure that's the one that's added in here, because again, this is what all of your clients are going to be seeing. Then for your website, if you have not yet set up your website, this might be blank, which again is completely fine. We're literally going to be setting up your website today, so no worries there. If you already have a URL there, one thing I will recommend is make sure that you either have the HTTP or HTTPS. If you have a custom domain, meaning it does not end in .kw.com, but it ends in just .com. For example, Lori has a custom domain. Hers starts with HTTP. If you are using a URL that ends in .kw.com, which essentially is the command given URL, it will always be HTTPS. So S is in Sam. And I'll add that in just so you guys can see it. You would just want to make sure that you have HTTP or HTTPS and then the semicolon //. If you guys are unsure of your website, maybe you're using a custom domain and you want to confirm, if you guys copy your custom domain and paste it into a new tab and just go ahead and copy it again from that tab, it will actually copy it with the correct beginning. All that's going to do is it's going to make sure that your website is clickable for all of your clients. This is just going to make it a little bit easier for them to access your website. So when they come to your mobile app, or if they come across your profile or your profile on your office website, this is going to allow your website to be clickable for them. They'll just be able to click right on it and it will bring them to your website. If it's not set up with the HTTP or HTTPS, what will happen is it will not be clickable and they will be responsible to copy and paste that into a browser, which is just kind of a pain. And a question just came in for the command websites. If you are using the .kw.com, it will not work with www. So in other words, if you're using a custom URL, www may work, but again, we always recommend that you try going to the website first, which is why I do recommend you copy it and paste it into another tab and go to that website just to make sure it's working correctly. But again, if you are using the command URL, you did not purchase a custom domain, make sure that you're just doing the HTTPS semicolon // and then your URL. It will not need www. Because it will not work. It will actually bring you to an insecure page. Update that for her. Underneath that, we have all of the brokerage information. You'll see on the left-hand side, starting with the Market Center logo, you'll see that that does look distorted here. However, on all of the marketing, it will show up correctly. This is just like your team logo. It will look a little bit funny here, but on all of your marketing, it will show the entire logo for you. If you guys do not have a Broker Center logo, or if you are just unsure what it is, feel free to shoot us an email. All of the offices that we do work with, we have logos on hand for you guys. So if your office does have a DBA logo, we can always get that added for you. On the right-hand side, we have all of the office information, starting with your actual Market Center name, the brokerage name. So for Lori, she's associated with Keller Williams Realty Sunset Corridor. Whatever your DBA name is for your brokerage, you do want to make sure that that's what's populating in that first section. Underneath that, we have the office phone number. Again, if you guys are in a situation where you don't have to have that office number on your marketing, you can do your mobile number again. That's exactly what Lori has set up. Underneath that, we have the brokerage address. You'll notice that the physical street address is first with the suite number, if there is a suite number. And then underneath that is the city, state, zip. Make sure that it is set up as such. Sometimes we've noticed that the physical street address is here and then the suite is right here, missing the city, state, and zip. So just make sure that full address is populating. Underneath that, we have the Market Center brokerage license number. If you happen to have that on hand, you can add that in. It's not mandatory. So if you don't have it on hand, don't panic. You can always add this in later, or you can also leave it blank. Scrolling down a little bit more, we're going to get into some of the compliance options available on the marketing profile, starting with the legal footer text. Lori has hers set up as licensed in Oregon and Washington. Most offices or most agents will have each Keller Williams office is independently owned and operated. That tends to be the common legal footer text that will, however, populate on all of your marketing by default because it's actually a Keller Williams compliance situation. It's going to populate everywhere for you anyways. So if you don't have something specific for your office, you can always leave this blank as well, or you can just re-add each Keller Williams office is independently owned and operated. And again, this will populate everywhere for you. So if there is specific compliance verbiage that needs to be added to everything, by putting it into that text box, it's going to show up on smart plans, your mobile app, your website, your email campaigns. It's going to show up everywhere. So it basically covers you on all platforms. Underneath that, we have the legal footer links. This is going to be more specific to those Texas real estate agents because they are required to have specific PDFs linked to all of their marketing platforms. If you guys are with a state or a board or a brokerage that does require you to have maybe a specific document on all of your marketing, this is where you would add that in. You'll notice that you guys can click on add link. You can give the link a title. If you're with Texas, you should be seeing information about brokerage services as one of them, and then consumer protection notice as the other one. If you're not licensed in Texas, you may not even use these, which is, again, completely fine. But you'll notice you guys can put that link title here, and then the URL to that public PDF that you've hosted somewhere. If you guys have a specific document that needs to be added to your marketing, and you're unsure how to get that added, that's what we are here for. So if you guys do get stuck, shoot that over to us in an email as an attachment and just let us know you need it added everywhere. We'll just need your command login. So don't panic, we can always help you with that as well. Underneath that, last but not least for compliance, is the legal footer images. If you guys are with a board or a brokerage that does require you guys to have a specific image on all of your marketing, this is where you would add those. They are going to populate very, very tiny. They're only 128 pixels by 48 pixels. So that's kind of like a thumbnail. They're very small. However, it will be within compliance. If you're licensed within the state of Maine, they do require you to have the equal housing opportunity, and the Maine board actually has their own logo that needs to be added to everything. Outside of the state of Maine, I'm not sure if any other states actually require an image, but if you do find yourself in that situation, you can upload that right here. Some agents also use this to add some of their designations. So if you guys have designation logos that you want to populate everywhere, you can actually add them right here. Again, they're going to populate very small at the bottom of your website. It will show up in the footer, but it's just a nice way to get that on there as well. Scrolling down a little bit more, we have our social platforms. You'll see here, Lori has her Facebook added. You'll notice that this is also hyperlinked. It's starting with that https://. If you guys have specific pages that are set up for real estate, That's where you guys can add these in. It is my personal recommendation to make sure that they are real estate specific before adding these to your marketing, because just remember, all of your clients are going to have access to these. So if it's a personal Facebook, personal Twitter, personal Instagram, and you're not gearing that towards real estate, these are going to show up everywhere and they will be clickable from everywhere. So just keep that in mind. Once you do have those business pages established, you've created them, in order to obtain any of these URLs, you would just go to that business page and copy the entire URL from the toolbar, and you'll paste it right into whichever section it's for. And that will essentially allow it to populate everywhere for you. Underneath that, we have the Facebook Pixel and Ads, and then Google Analytics. These are both platforms that are going to allow you to just track the traffic that are coming through your systems. So for Facebook, this is going to allow you to track that traffic being picked up through your targeted ads and all of the ads that you run through Facebook on command. And then for Google Analytics, it's going to do the exact same thing, but for your command website. If you guys are interested in setting these up, we do have tip videos on both of them. If you already dropped your email address in the chat, you're going to get both videos on how to set that up. So you don't have to re-add it. If your email's in the chat, I'm automatically going to send you the recording as well as the notes for this. If you guys are watching the recording to this class, anything I mentioned that is going to be on notes will be hyperlinked right underneath the video. So if you guys actually look at the bio for the video, the notes will be right there for you. Underneath that, last but not least, we have our branded KW app link. If you guys are not seeing a URL that starts with app.kw.com, that means chances are it is the placeholder URL. So again, your URL should start with app.kw.com. If it starts with anything else, chances are it's the placeholder URL. I'm going to show you guys where to obtain your mobile app URL next, just so you guys know where to get it. Then you can come back in here later and paste it in. That way it's just on all of your marketing materials for you. So if you guys made any changes or updates or whatever it may be, make sure that you're clicking on save all the way down at the bottom. And then once you guys do that, you should get this prompt. It's just letting you know that everything's been successfully saved. If you didn't make changes and you clicked on save, chances are nothing popped up. Don't panic. It's just recognizing that you didn't make any adjustments. Before we dive into the actual website portion, the last thing I want to make sure is right when you guys finish saving that, at the top right-hand side of your page, you guys are going to see text that says, use my information to brand my agent site. Make sure that toggle is populating as green. If that's populating as white or gray, you want to make sure that you click on that. What will happen is a compliance notice will pop up, and it will just say, essentially, everything needs to be compliant on your marketing profile. You just accept it, and then it will toggle that to populate as green. If that's not populating as green, it means that all of your information that you just put all of this together is not being allowed to share out to all of those command platforms. So in other words, your website won't be branded, your mobile app won't be branded, your smart plans won't be branded. They'll essentially show up with just the basic KW information. So having that populate as green, very important. Once you guys have done that, we're going to go ahead and click on consumer. This is the last icon on the left-hand side. If you guys ever question the icons, you can click on the white KW with the red background and it will actually give you what each icon is for. But we're going to go ahead and click on consumer. If you guys are not seeing this, try zooming out a little bit. Sometimes if you're on a laptop, it does cut off the last couple of icons. Once we click on consumer, we are going to be putting together the website today. But like I said, the first thing I just want to show you before I forget is how to find your mobile app URL. So I'm going to show you guys where that is first before jumping into the website. We're just going to go ahead and click on the site and app settings on the top right-hand corner. And once site and app settings has loaded, you're going to notice that you guys do have a couple of tabs. The second one being URLs. And we're going to go ahead and click on URLs. This is a Firefox thing. If you guys are not on Firefox, chances are it just loads for you. If you're on Firefox and you get this, just click on leave page and it will load. Once your URLs page loads, you guys are going to see your mobile app URL link right here. And you guys will now have access to just click copy. And then you guys can jump back into your marketing profile later and paste that right in. Or if you guys ever just second guess what your URL is for your mobile app, you guys can come in here and check it. Right above that is also your URL for your website if you ever second guess that as well. Again, if you haven't set it up yet, don't panic. Chances are that might be blank, but we're going to go ahead and set that up now. We're going to go ahead and click on our agent site pages to get our website going. And I just got a question as well. Somebody's not seeing any links on that URLs tab. If you're not seeing a mobile app URL link and you're a brand new agent, don't panic. It does take about 2 weeks for it to launch. If you're an existing agent and you've been with Keller Williams longer than the 2-week period and you're still not seeing that app URL link, that means that either your app hasn't launched or you're not set up as an agent. If you're an admin to a team or you're an assistant or you're an unlicensed admin, whatever it may be, you may not have access to a mobile app. If you are a licensed agent and you're not seeing it, just let us know and we can take a look and see what might be blocking that for you. So you can just shoot us an email over to support@scottlevroymarketing.com. So once you guys have clicked on the agent site pages, if you guys are already seeing something similar to how my screen is set up, you already have the 3 pages, the contact us, about me, about us, you have your URL populating here. That means that your basic website has already been set up. So that means what you're going to be doing today is more so tweaking what you already have. If you're not seeing any pages here, you don't have a clickable URL, that just means that your website has not yet been set up, which is what we're doing today. So you might be in 2 different situations, but the steps are still going to be the exact same. But if you are not seeing anything here yet, once we are done, it does usually take about 20 minutes for your website to go live. Usually we get the panic, so don't worry. Give it about 20, maybe 30 minutes, and then your screen will look exactly like mine. But you guys we're going to follow through all of the steps on how to set it up and everything. So once you guys are on this page, on the top right-hand corner, you should be seeing a create a new site button. We're going to go ahead and click on that. If you're not seeing, oh, I'm sorry, we're actually going to click on configure your site. If you guys are not seeing configure your site here, you're going to click on configure your site at the bottom left. They're actually the exact same. It just, depending on whether or not you have your website set up, will depend on where it's populating for you. So again, we're going to click on configure your site, not create a new site. My apologies. Once you guys click on that, we're going to go ahead and select the first option. I want to use the KW agent sites, and that's just essentially letting command know that we're going to go ahead and set up that command website. Then we're going to click on submit. Once that page loads, this is just letting us know what we're going to be doing through this guide today. We're going to be choosing our subdomain, which is essentially our URL for our website. We're going to be going over the themes and the styling available. And then we're also going to be creating those 3 pages that I previously mentioned, the About Me, the About Us, and the Contact Us pages. And again, if you already have them, we can tweak them. We're going to go ahead and click on Get Started. And then this may look familiar to some of you. This is just the compliance reminder letting you guys know that in order to essentially make this page live, You do need to keep in mind that compliance does need to be followed. So we're just going to go ahead and click on acknowledge and continue. Once this page loads, and it does usually take a second, the first thing you guys are going to see is on the right-hand side, you have your subdomain and marketing profile information. All of the edits that we are making today are going to be done right in this rectangle right over here. So on the left-hand side, this massive section right here is actually the preview for your website. This is letting you know what your website is going to look like, but none of the actual edits will be done here. Everything's going to be done on the right-hand side. We're going to start off by looking at your subdomain. The subdomain is going to be added right in this box. You'll notice by default, it's going to end in .kw.com. It doesn't allow special characters or spaces or anything along those lines. If you already have something populating, kind of like how my screen is set up right now, she already has a domain, you can go ahead and confirm it just to make sure it's locked in. If there's nothing in that box, you can actually update or add whatever you want your URL to be. So if you wanted to use John Smith or John.Smith, John-Smith, whatever you guys want, you guys can add that in. And once you click on your confirm domain, you want to make sure that you're getting that congrats, you have claimed your subdomain. If you get a red pop-up saying that it's essentially unavailable, just tweak your domain. It just means another agent has unfortunately already locked that domain in. Once you have your congrats pop up, we're just going to go ahead and click on our marketing profile information. If you've already set up your website, you're more than welcome to go through all of these steps and just make sure things are showing up correctly. This is not only going to set up a new website if you have not set one up, but it's also going to allow you guys to make tweaks and just kind of double check how everything is populating. But if you do already have a completely built website, you may not need to go through this process. Once you guys have clicked on your marketing profile information, you guys are going to see all of that information we just did on our marketing profile actually feeds automatically over here, which is fantastic. It's just one less step you guys have to worry about. So you're going to see your name that you guys added, your brokerage DBA name, you have that address, you have your team or business name populating right here. And what I'm going to do really quick is I'm just going to show you guys what I mentioned earlier, the team name or business name is going to show up as your drop-down list. I'm just going to show you guys exactly what that looks like really quick, just so you guys can see what I meant. So if you guys are not a part of a team, I had recommended putting maybe your name of Keller Williams Realty or any variation of that. This right here is where the team name shows up. If you leave that blank, it just says your agent. So in other words, in order for you guys just to add a little bit of your, a little bit of personalization, you guys can add your name or something along those lines, a catchphrase, whatever you want, but that's what's actually going to title your drop-down list for your website. So that's where that shows up. So again, if you guys haven't already added a team or business name, that's why we recommend that. And you guys can type that in right now and it will still update for you. Underneath that, you have your job title, that's pulled over, email, all of this is all updated right from your marketing profile for you. You'll see your biographies there with all those line breaks as well. Compliance information all pulled over. If you guys added any of the compliance links or the compliance images, those will be populating here as well. Scrolling down a little bit more is your imagery. You'll see now the headshot, you'll see that's cropped as a square. And then you'll see that both of the logos are showing up correctly now. So again, it is a little bit misleading on that marketing profile, but on your actual marketing materials, they will show up correctly for you. You'll also see how it shows up on her website. Scrolling down a little bit more, all of your social media URLs are automatically plugged in here, which is great. You do need to make sure that these are set up with that HTTP or HTTPS, because unfortunately, if they're not set up as such, and say you only have the tail end, so some agents will only put in the tail end of the URL. If you're missing that whole chunk, it won't allow you to move forward. So you do want to make sure you have the entire URL added here. Underneath that, you guys are going to see your KW app link. You'll notice that that auto populates, which is great. You guys actually have no way to change that. So it will automatically pull that over for you, which is a little bit of peace of mind. There's no way for you to accidentally add the wrong URL or for that to be mistyped. It will automatically pull for you from the back end of your account. Once you guys had added in or adjusted any information that needed to be adjusted, we're just going to go ahead and click on Save and Continue. If you guys are not seeing information pulling over that you just added to the marketing profile, it may be a timing error. However, my recommendation would be to shoot an email over to us, support@Scott-Leroy Marketing. For anybody that's in the live class, I did drop my information as well in that chat if you guys want to shoot an email over with your command login and we can take a look. So again, if you guys made edits to your marketing profile and you're not seeing them populate here, as long as you saved them, it should be pretty instant, but it might just be a little bit of a delay. So again, we're just going to go ahead and click on Save and Continue. Once this page loads, you guys are going to see the style and theme. For here, as of now, you guys have access to the red theme and the dark theme. What this is going to do is essentially change the labels, the buttons based on the color scheme that you select. So if you guys want the red accents, you would choose the red theme. If you guys want the dark theme, it's essentially kind of like a dark gray, like a charcoal gray. You can go ahead and click on that one. Again, it's the accent color. If you do not add a brokerage logo and you're relying on just the regular generic Keller Williams logo, this theme will actually depict how that logo looks as well. So in other words, if you choose the red theme, it will be the traditional Keller Williams logo. If you choose the dark theme, this will pull the grayscale of the traditional Keller Williams logo. Underneath that, we have the homepage text. That can be adjusted. The default is usually either find your dream home or let me help you find your dream home or something along those lines. Whatever you guys want to use can be added there. So you guys can adjust that, tweak it. We've seen some people use their team name or like a catchphrase or whatever it may be. Feel free to drop that in there and it will essentially update what will populate right above that search bar. Underneath that, you guys are going to see upload a homepage hero image. Hero image is just another word for a background image. So if you guys are looking to maybe customize those pictures that are going to populate in the background, and again, I'll reference Lori's live website, it's these images right in the background. You'll notice it's a slideshow and they rotate every couple of seconds. You guys have access to completely adjust those. If you guys have maybe custom pictures, pictures of previous listings, or just pictures that are maybe more specific to the area that you cover real estate in, by all means, you guys can actually go ahead and add those in. In order to add those pictures in, you do need to delete the original ones, which we have these on file. So if you change your mind down the line, don't panic, we have them. Just shoot us an email and we can re-add them in for you. But if you guys do want to add in custom images, you would need to delete either all of them, or if you only want to replace one image, you would just delete whichever one you want to replace and then add your image in. You'll notice there is an upload button right here. They do take a second to load. So again, don't panic, just give it a second to kind of, it scans over the image, it crops it accordingly. You do want to make sure that these images are high resolution. You also want to make sure that they are semi-cropped to being the shape that they should be. The recommended size is 1200 by 1200. That's actually not correct. You'll notice 1200 by 1200, that would give you a perfect square, but you'll see the image that you would be adding this for is a very narrow rectangle. So the image shape or the image size that you want to gear for is more like 1200 by 600, 1200 by 800. Once you go to upload a new image, it will allow you to crop it manually as well. So if you do have a high resolution, perfect square, you can use it and it will just have you crop it accordingly. But you guys do have access to edit all of these. And again, if you guys don't have these now, you can jump back in here later and make these edits and it will update in real time. It just takes a couple minutes for the image to actually load. But once it's loaded, you guys can go ahead and we're just going to click on the save and continue. Now we're jumping into the actual pages that are being created by this platform. The first one being the company profile. The company profile, the thing I like about the company profile is it's going to allow you guys to completely add any custom information you want. You guys can gear this towards Keller Williams in general, towards the area that you practice real estate in, towards your team, towards you as a real estate agent. Whatever you'd like, you can add whatever information you want to populate here. We're going to start by clicking on navigation. Navigation is just going to allow you guys to adjust the order of these 3 pages on your website. If you guys have already added a custom page to your website, this might be a little bit obsolete because it won't adjust those other pages. It's only going to allow you to adjust these 3. If you're just setting your website up now and maybe you want About Me to be first, you guys can drag and drop that and populate it first. That's what it's allowing you to do, is just change the order of the actual pages of how they will populate on your drop-down list. Underneath navigation, we have search engine optimization. Here, you guys are going to be able to select the information that will not only show up on that drop-down list as the name. So for example, this is set up as company profile, and you'll notice on her website, she has it set up as the Godfrey Real Estate Group. So she just tweaked that. So if you guys want this to say something other than company profile, maybe you guys are doing, why live in Florida or why live in Sarasota, and you guys maybe have a couple of tips you want to add, you guys can tweak the name to fit whatever content you're adding to that page. Underneath that, we have the slug. This is just the tail end of the actual URL. So we already went over your physical URL for the command website would be whatever you guys put in as your subdomain. So we have the Godfrey Real Estate Group .kw.com. So the slug for this is about-us. So the full URL to get your clients to this specific page once it's live would be this. It's just the tail end of the URL for the specific page. This will not allow special characters or spaces. However, if it is something that does need to be recognized as a space, you can use a dash. Underneath that, we have SEO description. This is just going to be a brief synopsis in regards to what the page is going to talk about. So for example, if you guys, again, are doing 10 reasons or 5 reasons why you want to live in Florida or Sarasota, or why work with me as a real estate agent, why work with our team, whatever it may be, you guys can actually just put a brief synopsis in this box that will go over that. What the SEO description is, if someone comes across this URL or your website on a Google search or Bing or whatever search engine they're using, this is going to be that description that shows up underneath the URL. So if you guys have ever done like a search for anything, you have, the title, then you have the URL, then underneath that, you have that smaller font that just kind of lets you know what that website's going to provide to you. That's what that is going to populate. If you guys ever question any of these, if you hover over the eyes, it breaks it down as well. Underneath that, we have content. For the content of the company profile, you guys have access to add a page header, which is just the title of the page. You guys have access to add a background image. This size recommendation is accurate, so it's 2000 by 500. That's this narrow picture right here. Underneath that, we have our intro paragraph. That's what's populating here. And then we have kind of like our 2 bullet points. So you have your section 1 headline and your section 1 paragraph, which is going to populate right here. And then you guys can add a custom image. This does have to be square, and we do recommend that you follow somewhere along that size. Usually the larger the image, the more distorted it tends to show up. So you may want to stick right around the 360 by 360. I wouldn't exceed 500 by 500. Underneath that, we have our section 2 headline and paragraph. Again, you guys can add whatever information you want in here. If you don't have anything on hand yet, we do have standard information we can add in there for you. Just shoot us an email and we can update that. And then we have the secondary image. Same thing applies. Larger the image, the more distorted it tends to show up. So I would not exceed 500 by 500. If you can stay around the 360 by 360 for size, I would. But if it's a little bit larger, that's completely fine. But you do want to make sure that both of those images are perfect squares. Underneath that, we have our footer title and footer paragraph. You'll see that populating right here. You guys can add in whatever information you'd like, or you can even remove it completely and just delete that. If you guys made any tweaks, just make sure that you guys are clicking on continue. If you guys want to skip this page for now, you can skip it. It just won't make the page live on your website. So I'm going to go ahead and click on continue. Once we get to this page, this is the About Me. So this is kind of like your bio page. This is going to go over you as an agent, and it's going to pull all of the information that you guys previously added to your marketing profile. Starting with navigation, just like the last page, it's the exact same thing. It's just allowing you to reorganize those pages. Search engine optimization, exact same thing. This time you guys are going to be giving a title to this page. If you guys maybe want to put about Lori or about your name, whatever it may be, you guys can adjust this accordingly. You can also adjust the slug. So I'll adjust that just to keep everything together. And her SEO description is set up about me. I would maybe put your name. But you guys can obviously put more information in there as well. If you guys are on a team, there is actually a special page that you guys can add. If it's like you're on a spouse team or you're working with one other person, the company profile is great for that because there's only 2 slots. However, there are not additional slots. So in other words, you have access to 2 pictures, 2 headlines, and 2 paragraphs. So if you guys are on a team with more than you and another person, my recommendation would be to use the team page, which is something we can help you with. We also have a team class that goes over it as well. I would just shoot us an email and I can get that over to you. And if you're watching the recording, shoot us an email if you're a part of a team and we can get that page added for you as well. Once you guys have added in that SEO description, we're going to jump into content. The first thing I'm going to address, don't panic about the line breaks. That's normal. This preview is actually wrong. So don't panic. As long as your line breaks are showing up here, you're all set. But as far as your page title, you guys can change this. You guys can tweak it, make it a little bit more personalized. I'm going to update hers just to have her name. And then you have your title. A lot of the times we'll put realtor with the registered R, or licensed real estate agent with Keller Williams blank, whatever your DBA is, Keller Williams Realty Select, Keller Williams Sunset, Keller Williams, whatever it may be. That way it just kind of has your title, you're a realtor and you're with that brokerage. Underneath that, you have your bio title. That's set up as just about Lori. You guys can tweak that again, however you see fit. And then we have our physical bio. Again, as long as your page break or your line breaks are showing up on this right here, it will show up on your live page. This preview has been, it's just not correct. So don't panic. It's been like that since the command websites came out, but as long as they're showing up on the right-hand side and you have those line breaks, you're seeing all these populating here. As long as you have them populating there, it will show up correctly on your live page. Underneath that, we have our contact information. This should all be pulling over from your marketing profile. But again, just spot check it. Just make sure that it looks correct here and make sure that everything's spelled correctly because again, this is your contact information. So this is huge. You will notice the contact number. Like I said, that is going to populate automatically with those dashes, which is why it sometimes gives you a hard time if you try to add them manually. And then you'll see the contact email is right underneath that. If you guys made edits to your bio and your marketing profile and it's not feeding over, you can certainly just paste it right into this box in order to essentially forcibly have it update. Sometimes the bio, if your website was already set up with an existing bio, sometimes that page can be a little bit finicky. If you guys are in a situation where your website's already set up and you guys are going through this class just to make tweaks and edits, if you get stuck on something, that is what we are here for. By all means, shoot us an email with what you're trying to change and we can take a look. Chances are it might just be something that needs to be updated manually. So don't panic. It's not set in stone. We can always just take a look at the back end of your account and see if we can push that through for you. Once you guys have made any tweaks for this, just go ahead and click on continue. And now we have our last page. This is going to be our contact us page. Again, navigation. We're just working on the contact us page if you guys want to tweak that order. Search engine optimization. We have contact us. If you're a singular agent, a lot of agents question why that's plural. You guys can update this to contact me, contact Lord, well, your name, whatever it may be. Then you have your slug as just contact. You guys can tweak that as well if you'd like. And then our SEO description, I'm just going to update this to be her name. But you guys can put more information in there as well. Contact me to buy or sell your home today, whatever it may be. Then we have our content. This is pretty straightforward now. You guys are probably pros. We have our page header, contact us. Again, if you're a singular agent and you just change the name or the title of your page, my recommendation would be to match this to whatever you just did. So I'm just going to update this to Lori Godfrey. And then we have our intro paragraph. If you guys have something that you want to put here, contact Lori Godfrey to buy or sell real estate today. You guys can add something in. You can also completely delete it and leave it blank. Whatever you guys want. This is all editable by you guys. Underneath that, we have our message hint. I'm going to leave that as is. That's essentially the suggestion that's going to populate in that message box, what you're looking for from these contacts who are going to be reaching out to you. Underneath that, we have the phone number. This one does not show up with dashes, so I'm just going to add dashes in. And then we have our email, which again should be populating from whatever is in the marketing profile. Once you guys have made any tweaks to those, we're just going to go ahead and click on save and continue. Once that page loads, we're going to click on Manage Sites. This is just letting you know what you have access to, but Manage Sites is just going to bring us back to command so we can take a look at our website. Once you guys are back here, we'll go ahead and click on Consumer once more. And again, that's the last icon on the left-hand side. We'll click on Agent Sites once more. And now your page should look pretty similar to mine. If you did make tweaks to any of the pages, so for example, if you guys had an existing website and you made some edits today, personalized a little more, maybe updated a spelling correction, whatever it may be, you'll notice that the page may have duplicated. So you'll see here now she has 2 About Us. What I can do now is I can actually remove my original About Us and just delete it right off my page. That way only my new one's showing up. If you guys didn't have duplicate pages, you're completely fine. If you guys have 1 About Us, 1 Contact Us, 1 About Me, you're good to go. Again, if you guys have duplicates, you can remove them. If you get stuck, as always, let us know. We can take a look and just make sure that the right pages are getting deleted as well. Now, if you guys want to check out your website, you can actually just click on the link. And if it's not clickable yet, if your eyeballs are still showing up as gray on your command website and this is not yet populating, it just means you just set up your website. That's the situation where I said it can take 20 to 30 minutes to go live. Don't panic, just hang tight, let it finish loading. And once it's updated, you guys will see that you'll have a clickable URL right here, and it will pull up all of the pages that we just created. I'm just going to go through the page really quick. You'll see we have our Broker Center logo, her team logos populating. Both look beautiful. They're not cropped. They're not squished. We have our team name populating, as well as our 3 pages. You will notice, and we get this question a lot, log in and sign up. That is not for you. It's actually for your consumers. This allows your contacts to come in here and sign up and then continuously log in and save properties. Think of it very similar to like a realtor.com login or a Zillow.com login. They can actually save properties and access your website and kind of like save properties to a list. It just allows them a little bit more access. It will also add their contact information as a lead to your account, which is kind of nice. Underneath that, we have our for sale, for rent, and this is their search bar. You guys can look for properties using this section. Featured listings, that's in a part of the notes, so I'm going to make sure that gets sent over to you guys. If you guys already dropped your email in there, you're going to get that video, don't worry. And again, if you guys are watching the recording and you guys are looking to add some featured listings or just build on your website more, in the notes, I've added the 201 website class, which I also teach, breaks down how to add some custom pages, as well as some additional features that you guys will have access to. And that will all be in the notes right underneath this recording. Underneath that, we have interested, let's talk. This is where your contact can provide their information right on their home screen, and it will go right over to you and add their contact information as a contact to your command database. Pretty cool. And then you'll see all of her contact information, headshot, her logo, all of that's populating right here as well. And again, this is all pulling from that marketing profile. Then our footer. If you guys did add anything for the footer, it's replicating that office information first, then Lori's information. We have our clickable link to Facebook. That was the only social page that she had added. We have our legal footer text. This is the legal footer that is essentially standard for Keller Williams. And then again, we have that all this text is just standard to Keller Williams. This is automatically going to populate. So you guys should have all of that there. If you guys did add those clickable links or icons, for example, designations, or again, if you guys are licensed in Maine or you're licensed in Texas and you have those information about brokerage services links, those should all be populating here as well. The last thing I want to show you guys, last but not least, I'm going to jump back to command really quick. If you guys want to make an edit to any of these pages down the line, You can go through the configure your site section. However, we totally understand that it is redundant. You essentially, if you want to make a quick fix on your bio, going through that entire process is a very lengthy process. So a quick workaround, if you guys want to make an adjustment to any of these pages, or really any pages that are on your website, you guys can actually click on designs. I'll expand this so you guys can see it. It's the third icon from the bottom. And once you guys click on designs, you'll see agent site as one of your tabs. And we're just going to go ahead and click on that. And these are all of the pages that Lori has added to her website over the months that, or actually now years, that the command website's been live. That means that she actually has access to come in here, open up any one of these and make edits to it. So for example, the company profile that we just created today, all I would have to do is click on that page and it brings me right back into that editable feature. In order to make edits to it, all I would do is click on configure widgets on the bottom right-hand corner. And then click on the widget I'm trying to adjust, which is company profile. And it pulls up exactly what we just had up. So for those of you who maybe didn't have your content for your company profile today, don't panic. You can come back in here. You can add in all of your information and then you'll just save and apply it and click save, and it will allow you to actually add that right to your website. I just got a really good question. How do you guys get that registered R? So if you guys are trying to add that realtor with a registered R, I'll type it in here just so you know what I'm talking about. So if you guys are looking to have that realtor, and then it should be, I'm on a Mac, so let me see if it should be either control, if you're on a PC, control 17 or 0714, I believe. I may have to pull that up for you and I'll send it over. But if you guys are looking for that registered R, let me check really quick. Yep, it's 0174. So if you guys are on a PC, it's going to be your control 0174, I believe. For Mac, I'm on a Mac right now, so mine is the command button, 0174. And you'll hold that button down as you type 0174, and it will give you that registered R. Just in case you guys are trying to add that as your designation. So I'm just going to bump out of this. So once you guys, if you guys do make changes to that, it should automatically update on your website and you guys should be good to go. But if you guys do ever need to make edits on those pages, just keep in mind designs, agent site, and you guys can log right in and update that. I also, again, in the notes, there's a quick tip video. I want to say it's like 5 minutes long, and it goes over exactly that, just in case you need something a little bit more in depth as well. That pretty much concludes our website class. If you guys have any questions, shoot me an email. I appreciate you guys coming to class today. I hope you guys enjoy what's left of your week. But yeah, if you guys need anything else, just let us know if you guys have questions or something wasn't addressed. And definitely take a look at the notes that are underneath the recording. If you guys are following along, there's going to be some quick tips that will just help you guys build on your website a little bit. And I appreciate you guys coming to class.